Surrender of the dark cabal is imminent. The empire is crumbling. For decades they have controlled what we think, and they have worked to gain control of just about everything in the society, and have passed legislation to gain control over everything that was not certainly controlled directly. They have been concentrating power into the hands of fewer and fewer people, and lately the puppet president's executive orders grant one person all powers over everything. This concentration of power into the hands of one dictator was not an accident. Yet some of you think somehow that the empire is crumbling. How could you reach that conclusion? Take a closer look at the controls they have put into place and the latest executive order signed by Obama. They control the water, the electricity, all permits, licenses, passports, police, military, weapons, technology, inventions, patents, trademarks, taxes, satellites, precious metals, jails, prisons, detention centers, cameras, highways, news media, Congress, puppet presidents, airwaves, Federal Communications Commission, Federal Trade Commission, American Medical Association, American Bar Association, watch lists, federal agencies, drugs both legal and illegal, invasions, occupations, businesses, drones, the Center for Disease Control, the United Nations, the Trilateral Commission, the Club of Rome, the Bank of International Settlements, the Department of Homeland Security, airports, the TSA, the Department of Education, the Department of Transportation. All of these are ways to control you, and now the puppet president has decided that he doesn't need Congress anymore, and his actions are more and more frequently against the wishes of the people, and so it's clear now that we have a dictatorship, and the outlook is very, very grim, as the government is openly torturing and killing American citizens who have not been charged with any crimes. Yet some of you are saying that the empire is crumbling. Where did you get this crazy idea? You must be listening to someone who is totally insane. Those who organized this power and control did not do it so they can promote liberties and democracy. They did it to control you. What is slavery? A person who is the property of another and wholly subject to this other person. Got a mirror? Go get it. You're looking at a slave. Is there any question about your slavery status now? Do you think your master is suddenly going to release you and walk into a prison cell for the rest of his life? You think he's going to grant you your freedom? They worked for decades to get all the laws and organizations set up so they could just walk away, surrender. That's like spending 2 days building a sandcastle at the beach and then pouring water over it. This might be fun at the beach while you're soaking up sunshine, but these people are not playing in the sun. The murderers on 9/11 tell you who they are and what they're up to. The $950 billion in gold in the World Trade Center towers is gone, and someone took it. The real number of dead is over 30,000 on 9/11, and you still believe it's the official 2,801. You don't know about the federal law that you can't rebuild on a site if more than 3,000 people were murdered there. They had to keep the number under 3,000, and since they didn't report everybody, they had to leave a little room in case somebody says, hey, my so-and-so is not on that list. And they add him and it's 2,802. You can't believe anything government tells you. You still believe that the unemployment rate is 8.3% when 40% of your friends are out of work or are now missing after losing their homes and vanishing. And you thought they went to live with relatives. Well, those relatives also lost their homes, and they vanished as well. Now, were all of them living with other relatives? Who has the ability to support so many relatives? The homeless are missing. They're not on the streets. Where did they go? If you have a ruthless dictator who has gained control of everything, where do you think these people went? Maybe you think this is the first time this has ever happened, but Hitler did this too. Another Nazi. People went missing and nobody cared about them because they had their own problems. When Allied forces discovered the gruesome sights at the concentration camps, the whole world was shocked. Well, the whole world is going to be shocked again if they ever find out. The design is to make everyone so poor that they don't have time to worry about the missing. Maybe you don't know about the crematory at the Denver airport, or the entire cluster of large buildings that were built, then declared a big mistake, and instead of demolishing them, they lowered them underground. You have any idea what kind of a hydraulic system would be needed to do that? They would have had to have planned this in advance. Howard Stein reports on this. Howard Stein. He says that they contracted out bits and pieces to private companies so that nobody had the big picture. They compartmentalize everything so that nobody has all of the knowledge. And then they kill those who have too much of the vital stuff. They can also program them to forget everything. Ask Andy Perro about that. He'll tell you firsthand. The deeper you dig, the more you find out. And most Americans don't know how to use a search engine yet. They've only been around since 1995. A handful of people are good at research. And of course, when they tell you the truth, you think they're crazy. You call them a conspiracy theorist. The woman who interviewed Howard Stein, her name is Lopez, she says, back then I was still not a conspiracy theorist, meaning that she became aware and became a conspiracy theorist. You have so many soldiers out there accusing people of being conspiracy theorists. These are soldiers for the enemy. They help put the masses to sleep with their harsh criticism of anyone who brings the truth. You heard the propaganda and you said nothing. Maybe you didn't know it was propaganda. Maybe you thought it was news. The propaganda created your false reality. And now you're helping the enemy by spreading the lie that they are about to quit, about to surrender, about to voluntarily walk into a jail cell forever. They will not quit ever. They have no better life than to remain on top. And no matter how many of you discover the truth, you're not going to convince them to resign their position of power and control over the slaves. Pick up your mirror and look at the slave. What they might do is shut off your electricity and water so you can't flush the toilet or buy gasoline. Did you ever think of that? How will your grocery store get food if there's no gasoline pump or diesel pump to bring you food on trucks? Did you think maybe that those pumps work on solar power? Maybe you thought there would be a backup system. If it's all controlled by the same person, even the backup system is not going to work, because you have all of the power concentrated into the hands of a few. And that should have been the alarm that was set off. But it wasn't. You ate your trail mix and went about your business, working 2 jobs to survive. When the electricity goes off, you'll be told that it's a solar flare or a coronal mass ejection, CME, that did it. When they turn off your water and power, they will not tell you the truth directly. And only a few will even question the seizure of this vital resource. Can you imagine how angry the people would be if they knew the truth, that your government turned off your water and your power in order to starve you to death, make you die of thirst, cancel all your amenities in your home? When your toilet is full, where are you going to go? To the gas station? That toilet will be full long before yours is. Are you going to trade in all your gold for a gallon of drinking water so you can last one more day? You'll be glad to make that trade. 1 bar of gold for 1 gallon of drinking water. That's how they will call in all the gold on this round. Roosevelt did it with an executive order. You have to turn it in or you go to prison. All they have to do today is shut off your water and you'll turn in your gold to get a drink of water. It's awful being without water. You won't be able to use the precious resource to flush your toilet. It'll be too valuable. Did you ever wonder why they made it illegal to collect rainwater? They don't want people storing water because they're planning to turn off the water for control. What were you thinking when they gained control over the rainwater? Did you think they had a sound argument for it? Maybe you didn't think that that would be used for drinking water when they turn off your water. When people have no water, they're going to take up their arms and go looking for some. When people have no food, they're going to pick up their guns and go looking for food. And this gives government a good excuse for murdering them. They have guns. Thirst and hunger can turn anyone into a savage. You saw people killed in the Old West movies for a canteen of water, didn't you? And then the murderer drank until he choked. Lack of food and lack of water is going to make people desperate, and they're going to get killed when they roam in gangs looking for some food and some water. If you have a gun and you're out in the streets, you're committing a crime. They can kill you defending the city. When they shoot the people and the bodies fall, do you think that they're going to take the time to bury them? Or are they going to just let them rot where they fall? Well, they ordered 500,000 biocaskets. And each one fits 3 people, not one. That's what Howard Stein said. Why would they order them in advance unless they had a plan? Is this normal, to have 500,000 biocaskets that fit 3 people? Of course not. And when you were told that there were 1,600 FEMA concentration camps with barbed wire on the inside, you laughed. You called those people conspiracy theorists. Well, take a look at your new home. If the truth is scary, I will say that the legislation was also scary, but you weren't afraid as the laws were being passed. And you don't want anybody to tell you the truth now because it's fear-mongering. The prospects of having all this power concentrated into the hands of one person is frightening. But you were not afraid when they did it. You're afraid now, hearing me tell you the ramifications of all this power concentrated into the hands of one man, a madman, who works not for you, but for them. He is their puppet. He is your president. He will be reelected, even if nobody votes for him, because they control the voting booth. It's electronic. You don't have privy to its operation or the results. You will be given the results. And you will be told that all those people went to the voting booth and voted for Obama, and you are the only one who voted for the constitutional candidate. That's the only reality that you are allowed to think and to know. You have a problem with that? If you do, they'll put you on a watch list, and your house will get no power or water, because they control the power and water to your house. It'll be turned off. Your driver's license will not be renewed. You'll be fired from your job. Your insurance will be canceled. Your bank account seized for not paying the IRS. You're guilty until you prove that you're innocent. And if you prove your innocence, you're still guilty because they are the IRS. You should have been alarmed when the IRS started doing these things, but you slept. And now it's too late. They have total control of you and everyone else through the IRS and thousands of other organizations and federal agencies and laws and rights of the powers of a few to arrest you, detain you, torture you, accuse you, punish you, and kill you. You waited too long to realize the power they have put into place over the years. You can commit suicide or you can die of thirst. Those are your choices. You can vote for Obama or you can vote for Romney. Those are your choices. Both are their candidate, and both will carry out their orders, just as Obama is doing today. And when the state of Georgia or Vermont says, Obama cannot run in this state, come to court, Obama, he flips up the middle finger at them, and his name appears on the ballot in those states anyway. That's a dictator. If you take medication, there will be a glitch and you won't be able to get your medications. Drones will be seen in American skies, hunting Americans now. There doesn't have to be any crime, or even an accusation of a crime. The president has granted himself the power to kill or torture anyone without charges or evidence of any crime. Do you remember where you were when you heard about that law? Do you remember your reaction to it? Didn't matter, did it? Well, it matters now. But don't worry, maybe they will surrender, and maybe their power structure is crumbling, like you and all the other naive dreamers believe. Maybe they are going to throw in the towel and go willingly to prison. If you have a business, what will you do when they march in, like the IRS, and start ransacking the place? You'll do the same thing that you do when the IRS does it. Nothing. You'll obey the law. That's what you'll do. You'll surrender whatever they demand. You will surrender whatever they demand, just as you do with the IRS. So let's be realistic. Who is going to surrender? You are, because they have all the power. And when the IRS strips you of anything valuable and ruins your life, as the IRS has done to so many, you'll surrender. It is you who will surrender. So keep dreaming that they will surrender. If you didn't wake up when the IRS was running wild, you need not wake up now. If you've been asleep, go back to sleep. This is only a nightmare. Dream sweet dreams of them surrendering and their empire crumbling. Thanks for listening.